for putting together such a wonderful program, a program that I'm sure will be inspirational for ourselves, to all of us, the mishpachos, as we begin really the home stretch towards Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the Yom Noraim, and Sukkot. I'm going to ask Charlie Harary to get up to give us his drasha, which I'm sure will be a fantastic drasha, we heard him a number of times by video. And afterwards, we're going to ask Rivi Schwebel to do the slichos. Having Rivi here, just say it now, is having Rivi Schwebel here is, besides the fact that he's an amazing Baal Tefillah, for myself personally, is a very emotional time. 11 years ago, when I first got sick, and the shul happens to be that a week before I got sick, I happened to have met Rivi's father on the street in Borough Park, Harary Selichos, Zatzal, who was an unbelievable person, unbelievable tefillah, unbelievable yid. His Yiras Shamayim, his midas toivos were unbelievable. And then afterwards, when he heard that I was sick, the shul had a night of Tehillim, and Harary Selichos was here to say the Tehillim at that time. It's Toich Shana, it's the middle of the year of his Petira. Tomorrow is his Hakamas Patseva. The Tefillas and the learning that could be a tremendous schus to his tremendous neshama. I'm sure that he'll continue to be a good better for all of us. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Charlie Harary.
It's truly a schus to be here, to have the opportunity to be at a shul that's so chashuv to our community, to be in front of rabbanim that are truly beacons to everything that we have. It really comes from our leaders, and so I thank you for the opportunity to be here. And before I start, I just want to give a bracha to this shul and to all the shuls in our community. This should be a year of both tova and sukkah. It's always going to be tova because the Rebbe runs the world; he knows what he's doing. Sometimes we don't know what he's doing, so it's not Mesukah. This should be the year that is both Tova and Mesukah for us. And we should be Zocheh this year to be benched, to have brachas in both Ruchnis and in Gashmis. This should be the year that hopefully, why not, that we should be the ones that are leading the charge and seeing the time where next year we should be Yerushalayim HaKodesh and Harary Selichos. Right. So it's amazing is sometimes when you work out in the business world, you hear questions that you have to answer. You didn't have to answer if you were just staying in this world. And there was one question that I got years ago about Rosh Hashanah that I never forgot. I was called in, I was working for a big law firm at the time, and a junior partner in the litigation group called me. And now when you work in these big law firms, they teach you right away one thing. They don't teach you law. They teach you that there's two sugs of Ben Adam, the two types of people. There's partners, and there's everybody else. And the goal in life is to give cover to the partner. And the more you can shop yourself to partners, but it's going to be few. So you do interesting things like they won't buy you. When you speak, you don't speak back, you take notes. When they come in, there's a lot of cover that you give to partners. So when a partner calls you up and says, come to my office immediately, it's a big deal. So it was seriously, it was right before Rosh Hashanah, 6, 7, maybe 8 years back, and I get a call from a junior partner, conservative guy. His secretary calls me up and goes, he wants to see you in the office immediately. I'm like, what did I do? I just got here. I'm like, oh my God. So I go up to his office. He sits in and he goes, come inside. I want to talk to you about something. I said, what? He goes, I have a question. I said, what's the question? So he asks me the following. He goes, you're an Orthodox guy, right? I said, yeah. He goes, do you mind, you understand anything about Judaism? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Whatever. So he says, I have a question. I said, what is it? He said, my sister became very religious, like you. And I was over the house. It was during this period of time. It was like Labor Day weekend. And my brother-in-law gets up, and apparently in the afternoons, he goes to pray. I thought you prayed on high holidays, like maybe on Saturday. Apparently, you type of people pray all the time. So he gets up and he goes to the temple. So he goes to pray. So I said, he goes, want to come? I go, not really. He goes, all right, listen, stay with the women. I said, okay, I'll go. So I go over and they pray, and it's a quick thing. They got up, they prayed a little bit. And he was done. As I walked out, he goes, no, we're doing it again. He goes, you just did it once. He goes, no, we'll do it again in a little bit. So he goes, you people. So he goes, in between prayers, they had a sermon. He's like, I never saw such a thing. So the rabbi gets up in between prayers and he tells over that this is the time before the day of judgment. Rosh Hashanah is coming. I never knew. I thought it was a high holiday. You show up, he said, hi, it was a holiday. I didn't realize that it was like a judgment day. He's saying this is the time where everything that you want, all your money, your health, your life, this is it. And that was it. He just stopped and then he prayed. Because I came home, I realized, like, oh my God, this is a real thing. But I'm not a good Jew. I eat this and I do this and I don't know. I said, wait a second. I'm a litigator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was born for Judgment Day. So I asked my brother, what do I do? So he goes, listen, go buy one of the special books for the prayer books. And then, you figure out what to put in your own thing. He goes, I got it. Next day came, I had my secretary figure out where the local bookstore is. There's a place right up the block on 45th called Eichler's. I went up to Eichler's. I bought myself the best interlinear English book for prayers in Rosh Hashanah. And I said to myself, here's what I'm going to do. Whenever it's time for the confession, you got to have confession. I'm going to put in my piece. I had a whole thing written out about why I should get a good year. I didn't know better. I'm a litigator. So I went home that night and I went page by page looking for the time of the confession, talk about the sins, so I could put in my stuff. And I didn't find it. He goes, there's no place in the whole book where you say you're sorry. How do you have a judgment day if you're not saying you're sorry? Now this is the time where you don't know an answer. You're like, yeah, it's a good question. It's a long answer. Of course I know it, of course. And I'll get back to you, of course, tomorrow. Bomb Kasha. We're about to walk into Yom Tov. We're like 2 minutes. We're about to start. And we're going to enter into Rosh Hashanah. And what we know about Rosh Hashanah is that our whole year is based on Rosh Hashanah. Everything that's going to happen to us from this moment on is Rosh Hashanah. The money we make, the health we have. Even Yom Kippur is the appellate court. The Yom Kippur is the chesima, it's the seal. The writing takes place in Rosh Hashanah for 48 hours. God looks down at us, and our whole year is going to be decided. You would think there'd be a peace where we'd stand up and go, by the way, my bad. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. You'd think if we were working it out, what you'd do is you'd put Yom Kippur before Rosh Hashanah. We say, I'm sorry, we clear ourselves, and then we walk into Dim, we're totally clean. No, not us. If you look at Rosh Hashanah, you don't even for 1 minute say, I'm sorry. It's even worse. Not only do you not say, I'm sorry, you spend all day, it's like you're sitting around like you own the place. If you were a lawyer, any litigators in the room, you know, your heart palpitates. Can you imagine a client showing up to the judge? Din is open, not one word of I'm sorry. Halfway through goes, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I got to make sure Prime Grill's having a special on steak. I got to make sure I'm going to spend 3 hours and make sure I order the creme brulee before I come back for later. We walk around the Rosh Hashanah as if we own the place. We don't say I'm sorry. And then the rest of the day, it's, can you pass the deli roll? And oh my God, of course there's chocolate, because how could there not be chocolate? It's Yontif. And we come back, by the way. Can you think of more chutzpah that the rabbi set us up for? On the day that we get judgment. So Chazal say like this. This is what we get. The shofar. We don't have much. What we have is as soon as we blow the shofar, the Medrash Rabbah in Emor says, that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is sitting at Din, and he's sitting at his place, and as soon as the shofar is blown, he gets up from the kisei of Din, and he sits in the kisei of Rachman. The out that we have, the way we survive judgment is not saying I'm sorry. The way that we survive judgment is not showing. What it makes sense, by the way, is that what we do in Yom Kippur should be Rosh Hashanah. We come to shul, we stay serious, we don't go anywhere, we're focused, and we leave exhausted, not us. The way we survive judgment is in the middle of tefillah, a guy gets up, blows a horn, and then magically what happens is Hashem stands up from the Kisei Hadin, sits in the Kisei Racham, and then this is the best. The Chazal say that the Satan is sitting around the prosecuting angel, he's rocking. Well, I didn't say I'm sorry, he's killing, and he's killing us, and all of a sudden he hears the shofar. This is the magic. It's Mababal Adas. He gets confused. And as if he goes to sleep, he's out. And with him out, and God on the Kisei Arachamim, we coast to victory every year. Does this make sense? I mean, it's cute. It's nice. If I told it to my kid who was like 7, he'd be like, oh, but does it make any sense to us? That the sun's still falling for it, like for real? He can't Google that we're going to be doing this year? He can't figure it out by now. We're doing it 3,000 years, seriously? Next week, we're showing up and telling God, by the way, we're really sorry, but it's not our fault because we're busted for dumb, and he's from Aish. We're sitting around giving him props that we're going to take down the Yetzer Hara. Are you kidding me? How should I do me if he ever goes, you're right, he is from Aish. Now, he doesn't know this is coming? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. God, he can't figure out that this, he can't anticipate it by now. What is going on? This magical story that we sit back and we blow a horn and everything is okay. So in order to understand this, I want to get into what we're supposed to be doing on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah has one property. If we get this right, we win. We get this wrong, we lose. Period. It's simple. Rosh Hashanah is not complicated. It's hard, but it's not complicated. There's one word. This is the word that makes Rosh Hashanah, HaMelech. Rosh Hashanah has one focus, period. God, King, Malchus. When we walk in, the entire tefillah is built around one word, HaMelech. And our ability to say HaMelech in the right way is our judgment. Our ability to be able to understand Malchus in the right way is what gives us the judgment that we're looking for. But how do we do that? And that's what I want to talk about today. What's the block that we have that stops us from screaming Hamelech, that stops us from really buying into God? And how does that play in specifically into Rosh Hashanah? So God's an amazing thing, believing in God. Because God is incomprehensible, but he relates to us in 2 ways. The first way God relates to us is in creation. Zecher l'maseh bereshis. God created the world, but what he did with creation was that he created a world that was run by rule, by law. If you look around, to have a body just pop up, that'd be cool. But to be able to have a body that pops up and you know that the heart in Bangladesh is the same heart in Woodmere, to know that this is what's going to happen every time, that every time someone gets pregnant, this is what's going to come out. To know that the world works, not like it just happened once, but it works by rules, is the greatness of God. And if you look around at some of the scientists that were quasi-agnostics, they all agree that there's some power that created the universe. As Albert Einstein said, God doesn't play dice with the universe. And Albert Einstein was a known agnostic. But when it came to the universe, you got a little bit of respect for the Rabbanu Shalom. Because when you're studying the universe, it's one thing to figure out, wow, pop. The guy's got a body that heals itself, and this is what happens. But if you take a step back and think, the millions of things that go on in the body of a human being, and they're all by law, by rule. You can follow it, you can trace it, you can predict it. The solar system doesn't just work. It works and like clockwork. Somebody had to have put something into effect to know that it's always going to shine at this time. For us to be able to search and understand the rules, there had to have been a rule maker. The animal kingdom has to do the right thing every single time in order to say, wait a second, not just that it happened to be that a tiger met. Wait, there's a rule. In Hebrew, the concept of order and law is called din. When there's din, you can follow it. You can understand it. There's a rule. You break the rule, you're out. When God created the world, he created the world with din. And we look back and we're marveling not just at his creations, we're marveling at the rules, the order, the din of creations. But what's amazing is that while is really, if you look back, that's the coolest thing ever. He gets almost no props for creating the world in Torah. You ever wondered this? The first time God says hello to people, he says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotzeisicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. I understand something. I'm the guy who took you out of Mitzrayim. And guess what? You're the guy who created Mitzrayim. We're giving you props for taking us out. You built Mitzrayim and Paro and everybody else. Every day, twice a day, we have a chiyuv to remember Mitzrayim. We're always remembering Mitzrayim. God created a world. That's so much cooler than actually taking a nation from one nation to another nation. Creating the universe is so much better than just picking one nation out. But we don't do that. Why? And the answer is because, well, God created the world with din, and we can see it and understand it. The way God runs the world seems to not have any din at all. His running of the world, can't figure it out. Creating the world, I got. But as we look around to see how he runs the place, we're going, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? I don't understand. And what leaves us wondering all the time, what leads scientists to think that there's no God, what leads Jews to leave God, what leads us internally to question our own Father in heaven, is not that he created the world, it's that we don't know what he is doing since then. Why did this happen to that young kid? What about this rabbi? What about this country? The Holocaust? I don't understand. How could there be a God? Hurricanes hit and hurt little babies? I don't understand how God runs the world. We're looking around, each and every one of us, and what we're searching for is din. We want a rule. We want some order in how he runs the world. We look at how he created the world, and we're like, wow! How you run the world, we have no idea how this works. And what each one of us is searching for 24/7, what takes up so much of our lives, what takes up so much of our time, is that we are all trying to figure out his din. You ever hear of someone that passed away? What's the first question you ask? So-and-so died. What's the first question? Was he sick? Who cares? He's not here. What matters to you if he's sick? Because in my vision of how the world should work, you don't just drop dead. You have to get sick first. Justice. We're trying to find, was he old? Does that matter? If he's old, well, in my vision of how justice should work, kids don't. You got to have a certain age, which is going to move with time, and then, oh, well, he lived a great life. Or, oh, he was how old? Why does that matter for him? If someone passes away, why does it matter to us how old he is? Because in our vision of justice, we're trying to find din. We're trying to find some semblance of how God runs the world so we can feel comfortable and safe. Oh, he was, listen, you know what? The truth is he was a druggie and I think he beat his wife and he was stuck in jail. Oh, well, no, okay. We feel like better, as if. Oh, he was a big veer, sweetest guy in the world. He had 25 children. Are you kidding me? Really? We're holding by tikkunim of nefeshes? We know Gilgulim? No, we have no idea. It has nothing to do with the mace. It has to do with us. And we hear tragedy, the first thing we're doing is we're trying to fit it into our sense of justice. We want a din. We want a rule. Because how else are we going to live unless we know how I can feel like it's not going to happen out of nowhere? When God creates the world, he does it with din, and we love it. When God runs the world, we're searching, we're dying for din. We're questioning his din all day. How could this be? Can you believe this? And then some of us are like, we like to drill it in. When someone passes away, he was the biggest tzaddik in the world. It makes no sense. How you doing today? I'm having a problem with God. What's the problem with God? This is what happened in our family. I'm not taking away pain, but it's not pain, it's justice. We're searching for din. We're asking his din. How come I haven't made any money? How come I haven't made money? So-and-so's stealing and he's getting away with it. I don't understand something. What about me? I'm doing everything right. I've said every word you wanted me to say. I didn't come last year and do everything that I wanted to do. I don't understand something. Where's the Rabbanu Shalom then? Where was he then? Why are we even here for? Why are we even here now? How many of us actually want to be here? I've never once in my life been in a shul when they bench Rosh Chodesh Elul. And they go Rosh Chodesh Elul, and the guy's like, yes, it's about time. I mean, like, we almost had a full summer this year, but no, not us. Labor Day weekend, what's a better place to place Labor Day weekend? Saturday night in shul, slichos. Like, what would I rather be doing? Ever. The enjoyment that we have after the David is done and it's Simchas Torah and we're coasting, forget about it. Best night of the year? Motzei Yom Kippur. Why? Because it's the furthest point in the calendar to the next Yom Kippur. Am I wrong? What are we doing? Why are we even here for it in the first place? It's simple. Because they told us that unless you show up now, you're going to have a bad year. Unless you start saying some Hebrew words again, and you say them loud, and when you don't know what's going to happen. You've got kids. It's a tough economy out there. He's giving out goodies. This is the time where God's showing up and giving out stuff. And don't mess it. Don't get him upset. Don't get him upset, because when he gets upset on Judgment Day, you're going to pay for it. It's worth it. Risk reward. Show up. Say the words that you don't really want to say. Keep your head down. Get through it fast. You'll be fine. We'll be able to get out. October will go away. Every year we come back. Do we want to be here? Straight. We don't. We want to be sleepy. It's 12 o'clock at night. We're here because of din. Because there's a rule, there's a law. It's called, this is the time where God gives out stuff. And we're trying to follow it because we know that if I follow this law, I'll get stuff. This is how it works with him. I've been waiting all year to figure him out, and now I figured him out. If you show up now, say the right words, blow the right things, eat the right apple and honey, fast, swing a chicken over your head, do whatever you got to do. Apparently, the way he runs this world is this way. I got it. The world, they don't know what they're doing. We got it. Did. Not only that, just to now they're on the topic. Forget us and the Rabboni Shalom. Most of our problems in life between each other, is it not just din? You know what you owe me? Do you know who you married? My Giali. This is, I put in, I get back. I've been schwitzing for this community. Where's this? They don't know how to give a little bit of respect. My kids can't give me, my wife, my husband, my friend. This is how it works. These are the rules. The guy looks at me like this. Guy looks a little more religious than you, you're a fanatic. Right? Guy looks a little less religious than you, you're barely Jewish. God somehow rests over every one of our chairs. Even as our own opinions even as we get more or less religious in life, somehow God follows us. And anyone to the right is a little bit crazy, anyone to the left is barely Jewish, but thank God there's us, which is right in the middle of it all. They figured it all out and is shocked. Why don't they just relax, and why don't they just step up? I've got it down, no matter where I go. You know what that is? It's din. I figured out the order. I figured out the rules, and I own it. If you look at our lives, what's driving us, what's blocking us from God, what's blocking us from each other, is that we just love din. It's order. And we can feel, at least when there's a little bit of order, at peace. We can predict tomorrow. Because when we feel unstable, we feel like we're all over the place. And if I can find some measure of stability in the world, in my religion, in my relationship, in God, some stability, I can relax at night, because then I can be in control. Now watch what happens. And I heard this from a great Rav named Rav Shimon Kesed. Watch what happens. Chazal say that every time you do a mitzvah, you create an angel. Every time you do a sin, you create an angel. What does that mean? What it means is that there's nothing in the world, there's Gebulim we're not getting into, but there's nothing in the world out there that's hurting us in the spiritual world that we don't create. We create that in which is spiritually comparable to us. Which is why, if you've ever heard the shir, they tell us all the time, when it gets time for this period of time, be mavatel things. Go lifnim mishuras hadin, because whatever we do, it comes back to us. The world out there can't touch us. The malachim can't touch us unless we give it power. If it comes from Hashem, it can't be negative. The power that is used for us is created by us. And the method in which it happens is a mechanism called midah keneged midah. What we do, we get. If I act in a way, then the angels of the spiritual world can act back to me. It's a midah keneged midah. I can get that in which I give. That's how the din, that's how the judgment of Hashem is so perfect. Because whatever it is that we're doing is coming. Now here comes Rosh Hashanah. This is where it gets awesome. It's Rosh Hashanah morning. And you know, wake up, we're sleeping, we're tossing and turning. Vasikin, something's going on in heaven. It's Yom Ha-Din. And the Satan's up early. Kadosh Baruch is sitting on his judgment. And you know who's up early that morning? Our Satan. You know where he's getting the power of Din from? Anybody? Us. The Satan has no power to have Din. You know where he's generating his energy from? Our Din. We love Din. We're asking on the Kadosh Baruch Hu's Din. We're asking on each other's Din. And now where does all that Din energy comes from? Who gives the Satan the ability to be posketing Din on us? It's us. We give him the right to sit in judgment because we're so focused on Din. That all that energy that goes to the Satan, and he shows up on Yom Hadin. This is his day. All year, Kadosh Baruch Hu's working and playing and working and playing and Pesach and Shavuos, and finally he gets one day where God says, okay, this is the day of judgment. What am I going to do? And God sits there, and we're still sleeping, we're schlepping to shul, getting a little late. It is what it is. If I seek it early in the morning, you know who's ready to go? The Satan's sitting there. And he's got so much din energy from us, and he's hired like 30 little Satan associates going on. They're running back and forth to get him coffee, and he's sitting up there, and he's looking down, and his energy bar is like maxed out. And he's looking down, and the day begins, and he's looking at us and going, you're questioning God, what are you, 50 years old, 40 years old, 20 years old, really? You're questioning the creator of humanity? Din. You're looking at the guy next to you, so religious, you can't stand your kid because he's too religious, not religious enough, really? You think, yeah, din. The guy next to you, they do this way, do that way, I'm not sure if I can eat. Din. You still holding the grudge from 10 years ago, for real? You're so locked in? Din. We're just sleeping to shul. We don't know what's even happening. We're getting killed on Judgment Day. And we can't even protect ourselves. There's nothing to say, I'm sorry. We're losing big time. And the day begins. And we don't even know what's hidden us in Shemayim. They look at us, he's going, din, din, din. Really? You got to tie on the rabbi? Really? He's not killing himself for you? Din. Your wife? For real? Your whole life isn't making your wife happy? You're mockbin? Ooh, you're a big tough guy? Din. Because 2 years ago, din, din, din. And the Sultan's rocking. They're bringing him a cigar. He's got a cup of brandy and a nice little glass cup. He's ready his coat on. He's coasting to victory. It's 12 o'clock. His feet's up. He's smoking his stogie. He's happy as a clam. The day just began. He owns us. We don't even know what's happening. We're sitting around talking to our friends, hoping that the chazan doesn't schlep it out. It's already 12 o'clock. What's going to happen? I don't know. Hope I can eat. I can't believe I got to be here. I can't wait for the whole thing to be over. Boom! Din, din, din. And it looks like it's all over. And all of a sudden, something happens. All of a sudden, the doors open up. And the little Suttons scurry. The Sutton turns around, puffing his last cigar smoke, and he turns around to look at the door. And like in the movies, the glass drops out of his hand, smashes on the floor, and he goes, "Oh no!" And a guy walks in, towering figure, beard, face shining, talus over his head, and he goes, "Not Avram." Oh no! And Avram reaches into his pocket. Pulls out his shofar, and as he pulls out his shofar down in earth, the chazan, the Baal Tokeh steps to the bima. We're halfway through the day, we're down by 150, and the Baal Tokeh comes in and he puts it and he hears Tekiah. And up in Shemayim, the Sutton's like, oh no. Who invited this guy? Pause. Who's Avram Avinu? What is he doing there? The greatest test we know is the test of the Akedah. Why? Let's be clear about something. Avram Avinu, to us, the Akedah is a big deal. Do you know why? Because we live in 2013 in America. Avram Avinu lived in the time of an idol worship called the Molech. You know what the Molech did? They killed their kids. At the time where Avram Avinu lived, every guy on his block killed his kids for their God. To us, back then, this is what it was. Why? is such a big deal. I'll go even further. Why is the chauffeur such a big deal for? Remember the story? The chauffeur wasn't even in the story, right? If you really, Avram Avinu comes, he's about to shech this kid, he has him tied up to a rope, he's got the knife up, and what happens? God goes, put it down. He goes, put it down. Puts it down. It's over. Credits come up, it's over. You know, director of God, Avram as Abraham, it's over. The next thing, post-credits, Avram's sitting around, drama's over, kid's gonna live, it's all good. He's almost going home, they're ready to put him in the car back, it's all fine. Avram's sitting around, he finds an aisle, he shouts it. The chauffeur shows up in the story after the drama's over. You want to give me a symbol for that kid? I have an idea. How about you take a kid and tie him on the beam and try to kill him? Give me a knife. Have the rabbi hold up a knife and we go, oh man, that's a big knife. You holding up a chauffeur? The chauffeur's the prop that's left in the set at the end. The chauffeur wasn't even in the story. What is Avram doing? And why were you in the chauffeur? What's the big deal? So we have to understand that kid didn't get this. Avram Avinu had one thing in his life. When he bought into God, Avram Avinu spent his whole life fighting idolatry. Idolatry said, kill your kids. Avram's whole life had one thing. Don't kill your kids. He gets honored. Thank you very much. You've been great. Don't kill your kids. Op-ed piece. Remember, don't kill your kids. Everywhere he went, don't kill your kids. Remember, at the dinners, he waved goodbye. Don't kill your kids. His posters, his bumper stickers, the magnet on his car, everything he did was, God doesn't want you to kill your kids. When Hashem told him to kill your kids, he wasn't asking just for his son's life. He was asking for everything. Everything. He comes down that mountaintop, they've got pictures snapped. Hypocrite of the year. He's gone. His reputation, his money, his family, his wife. It already happened to you, Sarah, but for sure he's going to lose his whole, God said, I want everything, Abraham. But I'll go one step further. And I was talking this over with Rav Noble at a wedding recently, and he told me that he heard this kasha from Aaron Cutler in 1963, right before the Kiyas Hashem. The Akedah was the greatest question on God in the history of humanity. Why? Because God himself made a bris with Abraham and said, this is going to be the kid, you're going to have a God, you're going to have a nation. All the other tests was God testing him. Abraham shows up and God goes, Lech lecha. Okay, you tell me do not to go, this is what it is. You're the program, you got to follow my rules. You want to be a Marine? Let's go, get up in the morning. But this was different because Hashem signed the contract. You're done. This kid is going to be a guy. It's signed on the dotted line. Notary, stamp by God. Then God shows up and goes, by the way, that kid, kill him. This was God contradicting God. If you sign the contract with somebody and then he broke the contract, in breach of contract, you take him to court. You know why? Because according to din, according to law, if you say you're going to do something and sign your name, you must do it. Don't write it otherwise. God turned to Avram and said, I am giving you my word, I'm God. He's the kid. You're going to have a nation. And then God himself said, I want him killed. The greatest question on Abraham was that this was the biggest question of din. Is there no order in the world, God? What am I going to rely on? I can't rely on you. I can't rely on your word. The kasha on Abraham wasn't it was a hard test. It wasn't just that he had to give everything up for God. His reputation. It was that God himself wasn't trustworthy. I have nothing to rely on. The tzaddik is getting killed now, God? Holy people are walking into gas chambers? What are you kidding me? Are you running this world? I don't understand your din. The first time in history where God told somebody, you're not on this. Watch, this makes no sense. There's no din. It was this moment in time. And according to Halacha, there's two prophecies by Navi, and they're contradicting each other. The first prophecy stands, Avram could have backed out of this big time. Avram could have turned around and said, listen, I'd love to do it, but let's talk about it. And didn't we sign a contract? Like, we were good. Closing documents went to Prime Hewlett, and like, come on, I thought we had something. Avram turns to God and goes, din? You think I care about din? You think I'm questioning how you run this world? Do you have any idea how I feel about you? Of course I want to know your ways. Of course I want to know everything. Are you kidding me? You think I'm going to question you? You're my dad. You're my life. What do you want? It makes no sense. I don't care. Take it. All of it. Every moment of my life, everything I have left. I'm nothing. I'm finished. I'm gone. I bring that kid up to the mountain. I am, as far as I'm concerned, I am dead. It doesn't matter to me. It makes no sense. Making sense? That's what this is about? My fall doesn't have to make sense. My king doesn't have to make sense. It's yours. The chauffeur was after the story. God goes, you passed. Avram goes, passing? This is what this is about, passing a test? He goes, no, I got it. You almost killed him, but you didn't. Avram goes, you don't get this. This isn't about passing a test. This is about me showing you how I feel about you. I got to give you something. God goes, I see it. He goes, you see it? It's not enough. We picked the chauffeur because the chauffeur isn't the passing of the test. The chauffeur is beyond the test. The chauffeur is so far past the test. You think I'm doing this to pass tests, Avram says? I don't care about tests. I care about you. What can I show you? He goes, I got it. He goes, that's not enough. What can I show you? Avram is the man that introduces to the world a concept called chesed. Chesed is forget the din. I don't got to know your ways for really. I'm like 30, 40, 50 years old. I'm a big tiny now. I got to understand why you did stuff. I got to hold grudges for 30 years. I got to make sure everyone knows how hush I am for real. I got to hold my din. My life is me. You crazy? My life is you. It's your mission. I work for you. You're my dad. Whatever you want, you tell me. You got it. It's tough, you got it. I'm Yosef Atzadik. I say no to Ashes Potiphar, and you send me to jail for 12 years? You got it. What do you need? You got it. I work for you. I'm Moshe Rabbeinu. I get kicked, and I get hit, and I get hit. I take care of these people. They hit me, and you got it. It's a pleasure. You're the boss. There's nothing else. Me, I'm not in this equation. I'm sorry. It's about you. Chesed, when it's unconditional. There's no condition. I don't need to figure you out. You don't even need to hook me up. I don't got to wait around during the year and go, I don't sing something. I davened so hard last year. I said 400 skulos. I went to the mikvah. I wrote a rebendel. I said Parshas Amanim, 16 different claps. What's going on here? We turn to God and go, huh? This isn't about me. Are you kidding me? This is about you. I'm here because you're my king. Where do you need me, Sergeant? Where do you need me, Dad? I'm going to question your ways, Dad. I want to know. Teach me like crazy. Teach me, Father. But we're going to go somewhere. I'm going to question my Father? Nah. Avram shows up to the courtroom. And the Sultan is ready. Dig, looking down. The Sultan is packing him up. The Sultan's already, he's already tasting his victory celebration. Din. And as he hits Din, he turns around. And Ish Chesed walks in. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. Were you sucking off the energy of my kids in Din? And guess what? Chesed now. There's no more energy left for you. Those are my children. They stand behind me. From now on, you want to paskin, all you got left is chesed. And something goes, well, I can't work with chesed. Chesed helps. I got nothing. And at that moment, the Sultan goes away. Because he has nothing left to draw on. Because Avram's chesed stands in our way and says, I got my people, I got my kids. And down on earth, the guy holds the shofar and he hears Tekiah. 6, 5, 2, 300 people hear Avram Avinu. And in their hearts they make a call. Anyone who's heard Tekiah shofar, you know, that first second your heart jumps. And then the line starts going back to normal. But there's a second where we're like, and every year, we make a decision. Who am I here for? Am I chesed or am I din? Is it about me? When is it going to be me? I'll play along. I know how this thing works. I'll play any game you want, God. I got to get stuff. Or is it about you? I work for you. I forgot for a second that my grandfather Abraham, in the DNA, gave me the ability to stop worrying about me. I forgot I have a wife to take care of. I forgot I have kids, each one on his own, not to look like me, to build them. I forgot that I have a community to give to. Oh my God. I spent all year worrying about me. I didn't realize. I'm on a mission. It's not about me. And at that moment of our lives, each of us stand at that podium. And the chauffeur says, who's in the center of your world? And part of us says, oh, it's me. I hope I have a good year. I hope this is a good year. I hope my Avena Malkinos, I get a couple things in there. I heard there's a school, if I have 10 fish heads, then I'll be the leader of the world. And they go, then. Then. And then some of us say, you know what am I doing? I'm questioning God. Really? I have a friend of mine told me this is so true. A guy came to me once, he's telling me a story about a kid who's, God bless everybody, everyone's wonderful. I'm sure everyone's exaggerating a little bit, but father's a great guy, lives in the 5 towns. More of a modern guy, as if that's even a term. I'm using it only for descriptive purposes. And his kids, God bless them, became very religious, went to Eretz Yisrael. Then never came back. The 5 towns became the capital of Shmutz La'aretz. You've heard of this before? Especially the 5 towns. I mean, like, you can't imagine if I go somewhere and they're like, oh, I see that you really like God. I'm like, yeah, it is. But I thought you lived in the 5 towns. Don't you love money? I'm like, yeah, exactly. Everyone in the 5 towns, we don't love money. Great. Stereotypes are awesome. So his kids goes there to Israel. He never comes back. And the father, Baruch Hashem, does well. He's supporting his job. So God bless him. Once a year he comes in with his wife. He married an Israeli woman. And once a year they come in every year to spend time with their mother. The father and mother, you know, they have grandkids. They're also our grandparents, even though they live in Shmutz La'aretz. They still think about their children. And one year the father was telling me, he came to me the next day. He was like broken. I said, what happened? He said, I was on my terrace in the morning. I usually don't go in the morning, but I couldn't sleep the night before. I was so excited to see my son. And I'm on my terrace, and the cab pulled up from JFK. And my daughter-in-law and my son and my little baby granddaughter get out of the car. And I hear my daughter-in-law say, oh, I hate coming here. And I hear my son-in-law tell my daughter-in-law, listen, they support us. Suck it up, 2 weeks, smile, before you know it, we'll be back in Yerushalayim. And he turns to me and goes, this is my son. I'm not going to support my son? You think that kid is their kid? That kid's my kid. You think they gave birth to a child and that's not my child? What do I want from my kid? What am I asking him for? $1 million? I'm asking him to show up 2 minutes and talk to my wife? What do I want from him? How did my son get out of a car and walk up to me and go, Daddy, you're spending all this money. You love me so much. My whole life is for you. What can I do for you? Can I take mommy on a walk? Really? 2 weeks? You gotta get stuff from me for 2 weeks? I'm your father. I don't love you more than you love yourself. You think you're protecting your granddaughter from me? Do you have any idea who I am? I'm your father, not some stranger. Then we turn to their bonus home like, can you take care of my kids? Guys, I take care of your kids. We're so worried. I hope my family is healthy. Hope my family... They're my kids, God says. You don't have kids except if I give you kids. You're worried about your kids for me? You crazy? You're my child. You're worried about Din so much? What do I want from you? 2 weeks you show up and you hang out with me? For real? Every second you're crying and worried? The only reason why you ask for anything in tefillah is to remind yourself that I give it to you. I'm not holding it back from you. If I didn't put it in there, you would think that you did it yourself. So I put it in there just to remind you. You think I'm sitting up here and waiting and be like, well, maybe I should, I don't know, maybe I should hurt your kids. Maybe I shouldn't hurt your kids. Maybe I should give you money. Okay, fine. You said it loud enough. Okay. Then. And a couple of Jews say, you know what? He's my dad. What am I doing? What do you need from me this year? I'm done protecting myself from you, God. You're my father. I don't got to protect myself from my father. I don't got to worry about myself in front of my father. All I got to do in front of my father is ask him what he needs. Because maybe he needs something from me. I have it all figured out. Maybe I don't. And on Rosh Hashanah, that shofar blows, and Avram Avinu says, You're my children. Trust me, guys. You have it in your DNA. Don't go back to din. Because you go back to din, that Sultan's ready to rock and roll. Go to chesed. Go to chesed. Go to chesed. And so we leave tefillah. You know what we don't do in tefillah? You know what we don't do in tefillah? We don't say give me. You know what else we don't do in tefillah? We don't say forgive me either. Because you know why? They both have the same denominator. It's about me. And God goes, don't even ask, don't even say. This isn't about you. We come home that night from Nassim Boxvogel. I read a whole piece on him who said that if you have daigas on Rosh Hashanah, it means you don't believe in him. You have daigas? Daigas, really? On his coronation day, you're sitting around, the king comes to town, and we're like, by the way, king, yeah, this is great. I love the parade. Can I get some extra money? This is great, wonderful. Don't hurt my... Really? Go home and eat. Relax. Eat. Enjoy. The king's coming to town. And if we can get to a level on Rosh Hashanah where we stop worrying about ourselves, you know what we reach? HaMelech. It's chesed. The biggest trap is worrying about me. The minute I worry about you, I enter into Avinu Chesed, and God sits on the kisei Chesed and goes, you want to talk about a judgment? I can't get off the din. I'm only on Chesed. I can only give you on Chesed. You really care about me? Like, you really want to take my wife on a walk? You're really worried about, like, wait, really? Like, you're worried about how the world doesn't believe in me? Like, you really care? No, I thought this is about you. Isn't it everything about you? You, really? You really care? Like, the fact that the world doesn't know that I exist? You really, all those people that are running around thinking that, like, we used to be an ape, you really care? That nobody, for real? And the choice that we make is the choice of who's the center of our world on Rosh Hashanah. And if it's us, it's din. And the Sultan's like, it's about time. Sorry, I took a break, guys. I enjoyed that cigar. I'm back. Let's rock and roll. Let's finish this puppy up. Din, din, din. And if it's him, if it's you got it, it's chesed. And when you're in chesed land, the whole game changes. The Sultan has no more power over you. Let me end with this. I'm going to do a few more minutes and then I'm going to call it a night. Why do we get this way for? And then I want to read one to see what Shalom and call it a night. So I'll tell you a quick story. I have a friend of mine, I think my coolest friend I ever had. I have some friends here, not as cool as those guys, other friends. I met him when I was in Columbia for law school. He bageled me. Everyone knows what bageling is? Bageling is when a Jew shows you how much they know about Judaism. You don't know, they didn't know as much. If they show you, they want to show you that I'm Jewish too. It's great, I love bageling because I love Jews, and I love Judaism. Perfect. So I was sitting in Columbia, and it was October morning, and I had a 2 o'clock class, and it was a Friday. And the guy, because Ben was Jewish, he goes, hi, how are you? I said, good. He goes, you're going to class today? I said, yeah. Why? He goes, no, because it's Friday, it's sundown. I'm like, I think it's sundown every day. He goes, no, Shabbat. I'm like, oh, you're bageling. Sure, yeah, Shabbat, right. You know about Shabbat, you must be Jewish, you want to come for Shabbat. He comes for Shabbos, we become like super close friends. Great guy. I mean, superstar. He grew up in the Midwest, and then he went to China to get his first law degree. He was the first American in the history of America to get a law degree in Chinese in China. I'm working on English, if you couldn't tell. He's getting Chinese now. When Bill Clinton came to China to discuss U.S.-Chinese relations, he didn't give him a shout out. He built an entire speech around this guy. When he was done with China, he was bored, he went to Yale. From Yale, he was bored, he went to Harvard, and then he was already like losing steam, so he ended up in Columbia now. Not only that, he's like eclectically. He had a gun, and he had like a motorcycle. So we become close friends. He gets involved with this organization, FIDF. He goes to Israel, he donates a rec center to a bunch of Israelis. He's sitting with a bunch of these colonels, and they go, what do you do? Tell them a story, Chinese, this and that. Comes back to America, gets a call. And the call is, we want you to come back to Israel. We heard that we didn't get one of your gifts that we had presented to you. We raised so much money, we want you to come back and present it to Israel. He goes, just send it to me. He'll come back to Israel. So he flies back to Israel, he's picked up in an unmarked car. It's driving back. You know in Yerushalayim, if you're taking the usual fish to Yerushalayim, as you pass to Yerushalayim, you see that Bruchim Abbayim sign. So right before he hits that Bruchim Abbayim sign, the car makes a short right and starts going off-road. And he's like, oh, okay. This is like where Al Jazeera comes in. This is like, what was I thinking? I don't know who these guys even are. He's like bumbling along. He gets to the end of the road, and he turns around and he sees like there's a tiny little cafe, and there's two other Israelis sitting there. And gets out, and like he's sitting around, and eating like hummus and olives or whatever, speaking like 1,000,000 miles an hour, like Yoni. So he has no idea what's going on. They tell him that they're opening up a branch in the intelligence department in China. They don't have a lot of people that speak Chinese in Israel. He's a blonde guy, he's got blue eyes, speaks American, speaks English fluently, he speaks Chinese. They say, would you like to come join the intelligence department of the Israeli army? So he goes, he goes, what do I do? I'm like, what do you do? You can't be a lawyer after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like how spy novels start. Like, they have to. So he's like, okay, I'm doing it. So he goes upstairs, goes to his boss, he goes, I quit. Goes to Israel, 5 years, I'm here, whatever. 5 years later, calls me up. He comes back to America. We go out for like 8-hour dinner. And he tells me everything. So I hear this story. It's fabulous. At the end of the story, he says to me, I go to him, he tells me the story, and as he's finishing the story, he tells me how he passed his final test. Mind-blowing. His final test that he had to do was he had to read coordinates. The way it works in intelligence, if you have to pick up a hostage somewhere, it's not like, you go, stop the door, you go, hi, Ahmed, where are they holding you? He goes, make a left on the thing, make a right, you grab Shwarm if you want, there's Minchamarv on the right, go pick him up, he's hanging out on the bottom of the basement. That's not how it works. They're in deserts, I don't know, you gotta read coordinates. So he teaches him how to read a coordinate, and his last test, he gets his thing, you gotta get to a certain location by a certain time, fine, he's smart, he gets it, he gets his location, he gets in his Jeep, he's gone. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, he's fine, 2, 1, he sees it from the distance, he knows exactly what he's doing. As he gets to 1 minute left, all of a sudden he hears, pop! Turns around, the back tire popped throughout. He turns around to his crew, goes, you didn't check the tires? What are you crazy? You didn't check the tires? He goes, fix it, he's screaming, fix it. They got it, he goes, forget you guys. He jumps out himself, he starts running, he's 10 seconds late, he's 12 seconds, he's 30 seconds late. He gets to the door 30 seconds late, the door's locked. And he's like, on the bottom of the door's sign it says, you failed. He's like, oh my God, can't believe all this way. Goes back to his barracks, his head is down. His commander comes and goes, listen, here's the story. It happens. It happens. It's training. We're watching the whole time. We're doing great. Shake it off. Tomorrow morning, another try. Don't even think about it. Next day comes, coordinates. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a smart guy. He goes. 5 minutes left. 4 minutes, exact 3. This one you have to stop and you have to run around a huge sand dune. He stops his car. The team goes around the sand dune. As he's turning around the sand dune, he hears, turns around. One of his guys goes, I think I broke my ankle. He goes, you didn't just break your ankle. What are you crying? Screaming at him, what's wrong with you? He goes, leaves you guys, jumps out, he's running himself again. He can't believe his luck. 2 days in a row, 10 seconds late, 20 seconds late, 30 seconds late. He gets to the door and it's locked. Nechshab, he failed. Now he goes back to the room now, he is livid. He told me he was breathing fire. He ripped his barracks to shreds. He turned to God and he goes, really, God? He goes, you know it's not God, you know what it is? It's the Israelis. They hate me, they want me to fail. They're setting me up the whole time. Oh, he is just steaming. And his commander comes in. And his commander says, listen, we're having a meeting about you at 6 o'clock. We know that this is 2 freak accidents, but we also take superstition pretty seriously. We don't know what's going on here, but we're not taking we're having a full meeting about you at 6. You know, they come back at 8 and he goes, listen, I used every chip in the book. You have one more chance. If tomorrow morning you get struck by lightning, and you don't hit that door on time, you hitch a cab, you go to Ben Gurion, you don't come back. Like, this is it. No more chances. So he goes, they're setting me up. I know it, they're setting me up. So he goes to bed that night, he goes, you know what, it's my last night in Israel. Tomorrow morning they're going to fail me, I'm going to get in the car, I'm going to go back. So he goes, let me just sit back and enjoy. And he sits back in his bed, he goes, you know, I can't believe it's been 5 years. I remember when they first brought me in the car, off-road. It's crazy, I thought I was going to die. The chumos, the shwarm, the yoni, all the guys. He's sitting around, he's remembering that memory, and he goes, you know, wait, I remember that conversation. There was a guy there that I had never seen again. I remember, he said something to me. He said that what makes an Israeli officer is someone who never leaves his men in a mission. Cool. He goes, wait, I saw that guy again once. Where did I see him? He had 2 years ago, he gave a seminar. Wait. And he spoke about how in intelligence, what was that, in intelligence, sometimes in the last minute something happens. What did he say? I forgot. He goes, wait, 2 years earlier, when I got my reward, they said, Congratulations to everybody. If they knew my name, that guy showed up again. What's going on? Because, and when we donated the rec center to those elite soldiers, I remember the confession about a sabotaged, and it hits it. They're not testing to see how quick we can get to the room. They're testing to be an officer. And officers never leave their men when everything goes down in the last minute. They're not testing to see who gets there first. They're testing to see what you do when all breaks loose in the last minute. And it hits it. They're not trying to fail me. They're trying to pass me. I'm just taking the wrong test. And he gets it at 2 o'clock in the morning. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, he puts on his uniform, and he waits by the door. At 5 a.m., the door opens up, and the guy's like, yo. He goes, ready. You go, okay. 2 Jeeps. He goes, whatever. Coordinates. He reads it perfectly. And they go 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. He's flying, he's looking at his watch, 45 seconds, the call comes in. He's been shooting at the second Jeep, turn around, shooting at the second Jeep, and he can feel that anger coming up, and he realizes that's what he's being tested on. And he goes, I got it, turns around, covers the plane, watches the guys, protects everybody, controls the situation, and he puts everything together within 10 seconds. And now he's 10 seconds late, but he doesn't care. And he's driving, and he's 20 seconds late, and 30 seconds late, but he became the leader that he always knew he could be. And he gets to the door, and he's waiting for the door to be locked because he's 30 seconds late. The door's open. And in the door is his commander. If it was in America, they'd be like, congratulations! Here's a teddy bear. Where's your grandma? We're having 16 graduation ceremonies. Here's a kiddish. They're Israeli. They're like, this said that. Go do something important. What's holding us back from Malchus? Why do we, as Jews in 2013, how can we live in a time where our great-grandparents would have killed for, and we can't get up on this day, this period of time, and just finally say, you, what are we thinking? We're living during the greatest period of time ever. Why? You know why? Because we haven't had that moment. We don't have the moment sitting in the bed. You see, we were born into this, many of us, and we just do it because we do it because we do it. We're like ortho robots. We weren't around when Kadosh Baruch Hu was picking souls. And he said, who's going to be my nation? Everyone's wonderful. All people are great. But if you're a Jew, you believe B'ni B'chor Yisrael. If you're a Jew, you have to believe Haben Yaakov Ephraim. And you can imagine when a Jewish baby is about to be born, and God goes, who wants to be my kid? You can imagine 6 billion hands went like this. Me, 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 me. It's going to be tough. Whatever. Me, 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 me. And God goes, not you. You in the back. Come on. Yep. You. We weren't there for the picking. We never have the moment when we go outside shul and we look up in the sky and go, what? The creator of humanity is my father for real? We don't have that moment. We just go and do and do and do and do and do until we stop, and we do and do and do. We don't have the moment we feel picked. I remember when I was in high school, I was in the basketball team. In 9th grade, I didn't make the team. I'll never forget that day. I go up to school, they put the team on the board because they want to mess with the heads of little 9th graders. I look for my name, I'm like, okay, they didn't spell it with an H, maybe they spelled Harary with a Z. Okay, maybe they spelled Harary's a name. Maybe it's here, I'm just going to look a couple more times, maybe there's different words to roofing, there could be different oasis in that, I'm going to just take a double look. I remember when I made it in 10th grade, I was like, I'm like, you see that? The security guard's like, I know, everyone of you do the same thing. I'm like, take a picture, please. You know what it feels like to be picked? Someone believes in you. We never have the moment we sit back in bed and go, oh my God, he's not trying to fail me, he's trying to pass me. I'm just taking the wrong test. The test isn't how much stuff I can get this year. This isn't a grab bag. The test is not how much I can have. The test is how much I can be. The bonus of the creator of humanity, and the last story that I'll call it. My son, God bless him, my son Moshe, when he was 5 years old, we were crossing over the GW. I don't like going to Jersey much, but you have to. So I was crossing over the GW. GW is English for traffic bridge. I was crossing the GW, and I tell every time I cross the GW, every time I cross the bridge, I tell my kids, look outside the window, look how beautiful Hashem made the world. All my kids know that God knows what he's doing. My son was 5, must have been, maybe 4 or 5. So I go, Moshe, look outside the window, look how beautiful Hashem made the world. My son goes to me and goes, Daddy, you know what's so funny? In yeshiva, they taught us how to daven. And I said, Baruch Atah Hashem. I was talking to somebody named Hashem. That guy and that guy have the same name. I said, Moshe, they're the same guy, not even a guy. And he goes, no, Daddy, not my Rebbe. You don't know what you're talking about. Listen. Listen. You're not in school. In Yeshiva, they gave me a sefer called the Siddur. And in the Siddur, you talk to someone named Hashem. And that name, and that guy's name is the same name. It's so coincidental. I said, Moshe, that guy? And he goes, like his 5-year-old brain's like, trick. He goes, I'm like, uh-huh. He goes, that is so awesome. He goes, can I borrow your cell phone to call my friends? I'm like, not till you're married. You know what the problem we have is we come to this period of time, you know what we never do? You know what we never do? Is we walk around and we look up and we go, what? The creator of humanity cares about me? Do you know how little I am? Does he know how irreligious I really am? Does he know how many questions I really have? Does he know how hard it is for me to have any kavanah? Does he know where I came from? Does he know where I'm going? He's the creator of humanity, and he has some faith in me. We never feel picked. We don't feel lucky, we feel punished. The rest of them on their New Year's are having margaritas. On our New Year's we're going through 25-hour fasts. We never walk out of here with a drop of confidence, with a chip, with a sense of the creator of humanity, for some reason that I don't know, picked little old me. And if we had a drop of that, you know what we'd feel? Holy cow, you picked me? What can I do for you? Chesed. The game of Rosh Hashanah, the game of Selichos, is to make sure you don't fall into din. We don't fall into gimme. You fall into the din, that side pulls out his gavel and he owns you. The game of Rosh Hashanah is to fall into chesed. Step up and go, you know what? I've been about me my whole life. I can't believe you picked me, God. I can't believe that, like, I'm one of your guys. What do you need? You want my marriage to be great? You got it. You want my family to be great? You got it. You want me to stop judging Jews? I don't even know what I'm judging. I'm just insecure myself. You want me to help Rabbi my community? What do you need from me? It's you. And if this year we hear the shofar and we say that, game's over. Let me end with one quote and then I'll call it a night. Talk about book of life, book of death. How do you get into the book of life? So the Nesiv Shalom tells us. This isn't Charlie Harary. This is a real guy. Nesiv Shalom. Ma'amar Chazal. Gimel Sfarim Niftachim B'Rosh Hashanah. You've heard this before? 3 books. Right? We're either Benonis or Rashos. Maybe if I can scream loud enough, I may be a Benoni if I'm lucky. Tzadikim Gemurim Nichtavim Nichtavim La'al L'chai. This is the Nesiv Shalom. Hainu. Here's what happens. Shepotchim Shloshes Sfarim Chadashim. Every year we open up 3 new books. Shekol Echad Roshem Es Atzmo, and God takes the pen and gives it to you. And everybody takes the pen, Shekol Echad Roshem Es Atzmo, Be'eze Sheyirtze. You put your name in your book. God says, I'm not putting you in a good or a bad book. Here are the books. Here's the pen. Line up. Write the name, your name, in the book you want to be in. The Makabala, if you Makabala upon yourself, Lashana HaChadasha, if you want to be min tzadikim, what does it mean to be a tzaddik? You know what you say? My life is not about me, I'm on mission. It's about you. I'm here for my tafkid. What do you want? Throw me curves, throw me straight balls, whatever it is. I hope I only get sweet. But if I don't, I got it. I'm here this year to do my mission. Al Yedei Zeh, this line number says, not Charlie. Al Yedei Zeh, Nichtavim v'Nichtamim la'alter v'l'chayim. You want to be in the good book? God says, here's the pen. Who's in the center of your world? It's me. The one on the right. It's called the Book of Life. Sign your name. Ubeinim or Rishayim. Who are these people? Hainu Eila. They could be davening all day. Hainu Eila. Shalom Akabalehem. Lamale is Yudum Tafkidim. They're not interested in like a tafkid. They're not interested in God. They want to get stuff. They're not interested in giving. Memela. Eilahem o tafkid. Okay, God, I got it. I'll work it in. But like, don't pretend like you're a tafkid. Don't pretend like you're going to chayim. The challenge for us, Banias Daiti, is to stop being broken people that's worried and start being a proud people that's confident. The challenge for us is to stand tall, to realize that God gives us everything, which is why we ask. And this year, we should be zocher, this community should be zocher to stand before God. And when Avram Avinu shows up and blows the shofar and starts scaring the Satan, we're sitting down below and we hear the shofar and go, you know what? This isn't about me anymore. I'm done. This is about him. I'm done. Chesed, I'm just going to give. And for Mamluch Hashem, over everything that we do, we stop questioning and asking, we start giving and going. What happens is the Kodesh Baruch Hu gets up and goes, my God, all I want to do is give. Ask a grandparent if all their life is just about giving. A grandparent's entire life is just giving. I promise you the Kodesh Baruch Hu is the most benevolent grandparent I'm ever going to meet. He sits on the Kisei HaChesed and goes, finally, a kahal, a community that want to give to me. Let's rock and roll. Let's bring Mashiach. We should be zocher this year to stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and show him that he is our Melech, and we are his children, we are his soldiers, and with that we should be inscribed in the book of life and become the light into the world that we're meant to be. And with that, be zocher this year to see Mashiach come in our days. And here be Amen.